today on Marvel.
You are Mary Marvel.
No, we're starting. It's Marvel 250, so we're bending some universes.
Sorry.
And I think our wires got crossed.
I'm not used to
Mackey's
this.
here, Markeia McCarty's here, Amy Cassandra-Martinez is here, and the whole regular current panel of the show is here because it's Marvel's 250th Marvel Movie News episode. Can you tell I'm excited? I hope you're excited. Let's talk Marvel.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Welcome to Marvel News from Marvel fans.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Marvel Movie News. This is Marvel Movie News.
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 Good afternoon to you, our merry Marvelites. That was really cute.
That was
Welcome back to Marvel Movie News, episode 250. We are coming to you live from the Popcorn Talk Studios because,
first time ever.
yeah, well, we might as well do it one time.
Yeah,
we've been here enough.
Yeah.
It seemed appropriate to not be somewhere else for this one.
For this one.
Just for the day.
Just for this one.
We'll travel around the multiverse later. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Let me go through our panel one more time. I'm Zach Wilson. Matt Key, welcome back.
Thank you.
The founder of the show
Wow.
from back in the day.
The founder created it 2014.
Wow. 2014? Mm-hmm. Wow.
I like that silence. That's just. We, of course, are welcoming back Markeia McCarty.
Oh, I was also a founder of the show on a different timeline.
And Amy Cassandra-Martinez.
Yay! That was nice. I feel like we hit the same note.
I think we did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I'm tone deaf. So.
I don't think you are.
Well, thank you. That's
You're
very
welcome.
sweet of you.
Well, even if it was accidental, there's some beautiful harmony going on in here. And, of course, Christian Bladt.
How the hell are you? I'm a menace, you're a menace, we're all menaces. Happy 250, everybody. And if you're listening on audio, it's because I look like J. Jonah Jameson.
Let's say JJ.
Mustache
Good job.
and all, I will say.
I spent $6 on this costume. You're welcome.
Actually, how much did that
Oh,
cost?
I spent $9 on this costume because I forgot I bought that
How
cigar.
much did it cost in personal equity with your wife, her having grown a beard and now having a mustache?
Well, this mustache is going to be gone probably before the show's over. So
She's going to come in with
I
clippers.
don't want to horrify either of my children anymore. So we'll get rid of that.
And Xia Anderson.
Hello. Just
Zia.
her again. Just me again.
Yeah, Xia
Hi.
didn't dress up.
No.
I'm in my Spider-Verse cosplay, which is unnecessarily detailed as I'm behind a desk and wearing a onesie under my sweatpants and mismatched shoes.
Zach, are those sweatpants? Yes, that's what they are.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good job.
All right, guys. So much to talk about, so much to get into, but I think there's some videos.
Yeah.
There's something.
I don't know.
Something going on up on that screen.
Ooh.
Somebody who was planning on being here, but got whisked away by unknown forces. Who's that up on that monitor?
Merry Marvelites, I miss you so very much. I wish I could be there for episode 250. Unfortunately, all morning I've been shooting at Golden Apple Comics a brand new episode of Comic Book Shopping, to which I'm very excited. But damn it, Lindelof, who's wicked awesome. And then I'm getting on a plane literally in an hour and a half from now, so I'm gonna be late for an international flight. Oh, fun. I'm gonna go do a set visit for a certain show that rhymes with the Coys, and I'm very excited about it. So I miss you dearly. You're amazing. Happy 250th episode. I did that show for like 3 years, and it was an amazing time. The fans are the best. You're the best if you're watching this, and I will be back. I will. I promise you. You have my word on video. Watch Comic Book Shopping. Check out the set visit. Watch other stuff. Enjoy comic books. Have a great day. You're great.
God, I hate him.
Finally, something we can agree.
Christian's just over being angry. I'm not used
I hate
to
everybody,
it.
especially you on the end, you goddamn menace.
That actually works
It's
out
gonna
really
be the
well.
whole show, isn't it?
Yeah.
I also feel like I didn't pay enough attention to the fact that Amy looks amazing as Agent Carter right now.
This is just what I normally wear on a Thursday.
That doesn't feel wrong. Like
I know, right? But yes, no, this is... Oh, and I have the shoes.
nice.
But I like to sit like this. I've always liked to sit like this, especially on this couch. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. That's so sweet.
And
Yeah.
Markeia as well, doing a I would say closet cosplay.
It's Spectrum.
Yeah, well, no, I know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
And
no,
it's
it's
amazing.
a Spectrum dress.
because I was so when you walked in as Spectrum, I was like, that's amazing. That's so cool. Because I didn't know that things like that existed, and I love the universe that we live in, where they make costumes for characters that only comic book readers know about.
Yeah, well, eventually we should know about Spectrum. I mean, that's
Maybe as soon as next
Photon,
year.
more than likely. Yeah, as soon as next year. So.
WandaVision
Or maybe
is
I'm
on
looking
its
forward.
way.
Maybe
to
she's
people
gonna
being-
compete for Captain Marvel's name.
I don't think people are ready for that. I'll be honest. I very much think that more than likely she's going to take her mom's call sign, and then we're just going to go straight to her being Photon. And then, to be comic book people that are like, wait, she's also Spectrum and Pulsar and Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, we're talking about Monica Rambeau for anybody who's not completely on board with what we're saying.
Who was in the Captain Marvel movie, but as a little
As a
girl.
little bit.
As a little
She's
girl.
so
Sweet.
adorable.
As a little girl
Yes.
in the 90s.
And will next be seen somehow in WandaVision on Disney Plus next year, next spring, in the most crowded year of Marvel ever.
Oh my god.
Every year gets more and more crowded.
And next year they're like, well, 2021 rather is pretty crowded. What if we also did a Spider-Man movie that year? And not to mention that is sort of like the target expected date for when Spider-Verse comes back with one of its two sequels.
Oh my god.
Lovely.
I'm gonna have to quit all of my jobs so I can just watch stuff.
Yep.
Just have
dedication.
That's what Disney wants.
That is what they want.
Well, speaking of what Disney wants, I think Disney knows who they want. As I transition our way into news as well. We're gonna get to
Okay.
that.
I didn't know.
I wanted to start some news. And
That's
so
exciting.
Sorry, I'm not used to not leading.
we can do shout outs throughout the show. You spread them out.
Okay.
Now I feel like I'm teeing something up and I need to just do it now.
No, don't. Just do your thing.
Doctor Strange is up here causing problems. That sounds right for him, though.
Yeah.
That's what someone in the chat said. Someone said, a gamer girl said, Matt Key should have dressed up as Doctor Strange and Xia as Emma Frost. That would have been cool if we had done that.
That costume is unwieldy. My Doctor Strange costume is unwieldy. But I did wear kind of a costume. I am wearing the
tell us about that.
I am wearing the exact same outfit that I wore when I got to tour the Marvel offices in New York.
Nice.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Which makes that extremely cool.
Yeah. So this outfit met editors at the Marvel offices.
That makes it cooler than
The outfit with Wonder Woman emblazoned on the back. And I have that jacket,
No,
so
I
I
represent
massively
both.
approve.
I like both. I prefer Marvel, but I
feel you
like
there.
both. Yeah.
You gotta keep that. You gotta keep them wanting more. They're like, oh man, how can we get him to wear Marvel stuff?
Yeah, how could we get him to wear a Marvel jacket? Oh, we gotta get that DC jacket off of him.
However, will it work? But since the time stone was activated by Matt Key, well, let's fast forward and then rewind, and then I think the Starjammer is sending us a message right now.
Wait.
What does it say up there? What are they beaming down to us?
Well, hello. This is Colt from Starjammer. I just want to put a face to
Oh my god.
what you guys see and read on Twitter, and I just wish you guys a happy 250. For all the co-hosts that are there, and for all the audience that are watching. I just wish you guys, a great time, and
Thank you,
it's been a
Colt.
wild experience. Been there since probably day one, since I heard about it on Schmoes, and kind of went from there. So, still a big fan. I'll still be in the host, should be in the chat room with you guys during the show, and let's have some fun. 250 more. Okay? Bye.
The chat is very excited with Gamer Girl shouting out cult face reveal. Now we know what the next end sounds like.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And Daniel Drew's asking, is this the first appearance? I do believe we've never seen, and I've never heard him before.
I've never heard Colt Bano.
Right.
I've
So this is
had
the first
email
element.
correspondence with
Yeah.
him. He's a lovely human.
I'm pretty sure he's called in before.
He's called
yes.
in. Yeah, I remember.
But this is the first visual appearance from Colt.
Colt Bano!
Who is very helpful for us
love
on
you,
socials,
Colt.
making sure that our Twitter stays active and sending out the news. So follow it at Marvel News PTN. Help Colt out.
Help Colt.
Now turning it back to where I had a smooth transition into the news.
Yeah, well, I ruined that.
Well, I could have just skibbity bopped you,
Yeah.
but I didn't. No, big news. Kevin Feige is now the CCO of all of Marvel. Which the chief creative officer of not just Marvel it's of Marvel Studios, but now Marvel Studios is the umbrella for television and comics as well as movies.
Wow.
Pretty much everything in our kidneys as well.
Yeah. So basically, Disney decided to give Kevin Feige a promotion this week.
A relatively large one.
Yeah, a pretty big one. So basically, he has creative control, over everything Marvel.
Is he gonna sleep ever?
That's my major concern.
Probably has a time stone too. So.
He has to, yeah.
I think he has like a lot of LMDs. Like I think that's the big. Like, he's got like 4 or 5 LMDs, and he's actually just chilling on a space station.
I think he's probably one of the elders. He's just called, the Great Delegator.
He's the delegator.
He's the delegator.
He's also good friends with the gardener, the collector,
the delegator,
the runner, the champion of the universe,
the producer. That's the one that you don't know about because he's always behind the scenes. The producer.
And it's great that to unwind on weekends, he's just going to do a Star Wars movie, just for fun.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Why not?
Just as a side project, whatever.
Yeah, my little side project is this little thing called Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing is 2 weeks ago, people were like, is Kevin Feige going to leave Marvel for Star Wars? What's happening here? And they're like, no, he's going to take it over entirely.
Yeah, he's absolutely not leaving.
Can I tell you how much I love this? Like
you can.
Yeah.
Please do.
The fact that this basically means that while Ike Perlmutter is still involved in Marvel in some way, he's still on the board. He is not creatively in charge of anything at that company anymore.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
Why would you say that? why at all? We're talking about Inhumans later, right?
Nice.
It's just changing.
Well, so now this is an interesting point because Jeff Loeb, because this is the big question is, so Kevin Feige's taking over Marvel TV. What's going to happen to Jeff Loeb, who's been at least the creative force behind it? For all we know right now, Jeff Loeb is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
He will now report to Kevin Feige, but he is still running Marvel Television.
So when he has another idea that is not good, Kevin Feige can be like, no.
Yeah.
Well, but what is
essentially
that?
That would be the way that it would work.
Because it seems like he's not doing the Disney Plus stuff. So it's like Hellstrom, and is he doing the animation? I mean,
well, that's the interesting
Shield's
thing is
done. They already wrapped. So.
With Feige in charge of it, it does seem like the it's all connected that we were promised is going to come back more into the fold.
Yeah,
which is good. But I don't know what that means for shows that are currently on the air,
like on the networks.
Is Hellstrom going to go away? I know they just cast that show, but it's not. It would be the first time a TV show has been approved and then
slashed. I have a friend who wrote a script for season 3 of Luke Cage, so stuff happens all the time.
I also am curious about Cloak and Dagger and Runaways.
Yeah, those are the only live shows still in production.
Runaways has a season that's going to air, but Cloak and Dagger, as pointed out in the chat, still has no renewal. And it's not canceled, but. At some point, you'd think that they would go back into production on it. So I think people are a little nervous about that one. Not Xia, though.
We'll have to see.
No,
Amy,
I want to know because
I'm curious, and Amy and Markeia especially, because you guys are on the other side. I want to make sure the Cosmic Couch gets its attention. But are you enjoying the Runaways, or do you think it's going to stick around now that Feige is technically overseeing those shows?
Well, there isn't any reason for them not to keep it around. It's very popular. I mean, it's exactly, and it sets the right tone, and it interacts well with Cloak and Dagger. Wait,
Cloak and Dagger, yeah.
There's a whole lot of things that have Cloak and Dagger in their names, and so with this, there's literally no reason for them not to, because it's not necessarily the only reason why I would think that they might not is because in a way it's splitting their audience. But it also kind of isn't, because Disney owns everything, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't see any reason for them to stop. It's going to keep on driving people into the Marvel fold, just in a different part of it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's probably important for them to have shows and on other channels other than just Disney Plus, because if you watch Runaways on Hulu, then it's like, and by the way, you can check out previous episodes on Disney Plus. Get your subscription today. So.
You should do that, Reed.
What was that?
With that voice.
With exactly that voice, yeah.
Also, even Disney can't afford the now rumored $150 million budget for every show that's out there.
Sure they can. They own America. Like the actual continent of America is owned by Disney Corp.
That's the rumor, though, this week, is that all the shows like Hawkeye, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, $150 million per show. That's only for 6 to 8 episodes apiece.
That's just
Lord.
Disney's
It'd be
mad
so
money.
good.
Let's be honest. When,
Yeah.
when Disney's just feeling itself and it's like, I want to go away for a weekend, 150 grand,
Yeah.
1,000 million,
150 million, yeah.
150 million.
Yeah.
So,
This is their
charge-
version of going to Palm Desert, like Hawkeye series.
They charge $30 for a parking spot at Disneyland. I think that the money's there. They they can allocate it however they want. I think that that budget, maybe that comes from the Ghost Rider show not happening now. They're like, great, let's spread that out over the other shows a little bit.
ouch.
In my-
or
I-
Luke Cage season 3.
Right, exactly. The script my friend didn't get paid for.
Well, this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that Kevin Feige comes in and is like, you know what? Maybe Ghost Rider could work. And he just says, like, he takes like 5 minutes of pitching, and then they're like, oh my God, it was right in front of us the whole time.
I mean, I don't know. I took that news as that they want to save Ghost Rider for movies, hopefully
I'm hoping.
with Nicolas Cage. But no, I do. I think
Amy
that
gave Christian. I'm sorry.
they're jokes, Amy. I know I haven't talked to you in a while.
One
But you
does
know.
not simply joke about that. This is very serious.
Koi's in the chat room.
I feel like he would be better suited for in the big screen. Yes, Koi's actually
Koi's
in the chat room. He's about to get on the plane, but he's for those in the chat. Make sure you say hi to Koi.
Hey, Koi. So there's so many shows that could happen now, so many movies that could happen. I will say, Nick Cage as Johnny Blaze training Gabriel Luna.
Well, I would accept that. Yeah, I would accept that as long as we get Gabriel.
You didn't have enough with the Ghost Rider movie? You just want a little bit more?
I need more. But also, like, again, like, if you put him in I think splitting that role, and like the Nick Cage is like the unexplained force in this world, where he will make a movie that you're like, how did that even get made? And then make a movie you're like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And let us not forget his turn as Spider-Man Noir, which was
That was fantastic.
Right?
Great.
That
It was great.
See?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I blame the directors. You just got to know how to use Nick Cage right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you just set Nick Cage free. He thinks he's free, but you set up fences, electrified fences.
You put like gutters on the side, so he bounces between them. Yeah.
It's like an oxymoron from his last name.
In the chat, Philly Prince says, Ghost Rider 3, damn it. All right, at least somebody's on my side here. More Nick Cage.
Look, if we can get J.K. Simmons to come back and just accept that, like, it's not the same one. But he looks the same because,
Yeah.
like, multiverse.
Sure.
Then we can get Nick Cage back as Johnny Blaze, but have him, like, playing this absurd role where there's multiple spirits of vengeance and they've taken over.
Can we
Robbie
get
Reyes
Snipes
and
back as
Johnny
Blade,
Blaze.
training like the new Blade?
Whoa.
That's what I've wanted the entire
want-
time.
Same.
Or
I want.
Yeah.
Yes.
or Whistler.
Yes.
You could just throw him in
Sure.
as Whistler, like the cameo roles. The cameos would be super fun. Yeah. I want to see it. Or
Midnight
if
Suns, let's do
what if it's Wesley Snipes as Dracula?
Cool. I'll take it.
Snipes,
take
I'm on
it.
board.
Snipes is good.
Let's see what happens. Well, as long as Koi's in the chat, we may as well do some Koi relevant news because Deadpool 3 is being
right.
discussed again. Yeah,
Ugh,
do you
forgot about that.
remember the
Ugh.
days where Deadpool you couldn't go one episode of the show without Deadpool coming up?
Oh, I remember those days.
Since you mentioned Koi, he did chime in. Nick Cage has one of Moon Knight's personalities, but only one of them.
Oh my god.
I know they're supposedly looking at they're trying to find an Israeli actor for Moon Knight.
Yeah.
But Nick Cage's Moon Knight would also work.
Because he's unhinged.
I want Keanu Reeves as Moon Knight.
Oh, I want
you.
Keanu Reeves as
Yes.
anything
Yep.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I still
oh,
like
god,
my
that man. Oh god, that
in
man.
my head.
That's how I feel
Keanu-
about Keanu Reeves and Idris Elba. I would like them to play every role ever. Like, they just play them all.
I mean, there's a
100%.
number of actors that could play Moon Knight. Keanu's my top, but like Chiwetel Ejiofor could do like a really amazing job with it. That dude has dimension. I saw the new Maleficent.
Maleficent.
Maleficent. I saw the new Angelina Jolie movie. And
Melissa Fent.
Okay. Him in it. It's just you could barely tell it was him because it's just like you're this mythical I'm not going to give, wait, is he in the trailer? Okay, you're somebody else in this, but you're not what I expect. And I appreciate what you have to throw down.
You just made me want to watch that. I wasn't even on board with that movie until you said that. And then I was like, okay, now I kind of want to go watch this.
Well, he's extremely attractive in it. I will say that. It's a good movie for... I think like 13 to 15, like from who watched it before and they've aged up, that's what it feels like that movie is for.
Yeah.
I still think Keanu Reeves as the epitome of a perfect man, Adam Warlock, is great casting.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good casting. I'm like racking my brain for who Keanu Reeves would be in my universe.
We've had extended thoughts on this because apparently Marvel has offered him.
About it a lot.
I'm sure.
They've offered him a bunch of roles. They've been trying to get him into a movie for years.
I would love to see him as the champion of the universe.
Oh.
Another Eternal.
Yep.
Elder.
It adds up. All right, Deadpool 3. Ryan Reynolds showed up at Marvel HQ this week.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah,
There he is.
that's it. That's all that happened.
That's all that happened.
But he walked into Marvel, so now Deadpool 3 confirmed.
Everybody's like, "Yep, it's happening." I don't blame them for wanting it.
I mean, it makes sense. That's why else would he be there?
Yeah.
I mean,
at least to talk about the future of the franchise in some way. Yeah.
And they have to be working on it because that movie is the top 2. Those 2 movies are the top 2 R-rated grossing films of all time.
Yep.
Or opening weekend. Edging out, like Joker got close, but did not beat Deadpool and Deadpool 2.
There was too much hype around Deadpool. The hype was the reason that movie got made. Because the trailer leaked and everybody was like, "Oh my god, please make this."
Yeah, who did that?
I
Ryan
remember.
Reynolds.
Yeah, of course. I remember when it came out. I was like, there weren't words. You couldn't see my face. My mouth was open.
I thought we got Deadpool because of how awesome he was in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and we all wanted more. I was the only one. All right.
Yeah, that was. Yep.
That's what it
I
was.
saw that and was like, "I didn't even know that was supposed to be Deadpool." When I
the
watched
merc
it. I
was
like,
out of
"What
mouth."
is this?"
He sure was.
But it goes on. We got some comments from the writers this week. I think that about like whether it's going to be R-rated, and they're saying, this is the quote, "I think the party line and truth is we're all still figuring it out. Marvel has promised to continue to let us play in the R-rated Deadpool universe, and the hope is that they will also let us veer into the MCU a little bit as well and play in that sandbox."
Yeah.
So that sort of
cool.
implies the thought is that Deadpool will sort of live in his own pocket universe, but because he breaks the fourth wall anyway, he'll just pop into the MCU when they feel like it.
I'm
Love it.
so game.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
And it would have been disappointing if they didn't let it be R-rated. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know that Disney has like the family-friendly image that they need to keep, and like I don't disagree with that, sort of brand, but like you can't do Deadpool very well without an R rating.
Yeah, they proved with Once Upon a Deadpool that it can work, but it's still, you're chopping out a lot of the jokes.
Yeah.
It's
So,
just unsatisfying.
Yeah. Did you guys see Once Upon a Deadpool? Amy's nodding. Amy's nodding on a podcast.
Oh yeah, I was like, why are you guys so quiet?
Did you like it better than Deadpool 2?
No, I feel like it just like what you just said. It just took out stuff.
It's like if you made a Wolverine movie and like, oh, this one he doesn't get to use his claws, but it's all right. You still like him, right?
Yeah, I feel
Or made his
like
claws of bone or something. I don't know. Who would do that?
Deadpool is just so iconic, just the way he is, and it's like, why change someone when they're already perfect?
Thanks,
That's what I gotta say.
Tell us how you really feel about that.
Great idea from Gamer Girl in the chat. Deadpool should start making cameos in the MCU, just like the late great Stan Lee. So Deadpool in every movie.
Oh, that is an excellent
That's
suggestion.
actually a really great
I
idea.
would totally love that.
Yeah, I love that idea. Well done, Gamer Girl.
That does almost work in like a week, because like that
Yeah.
was always the fun of Stan Lee. It's like, what's the cameo gonna be? And the debate was, do you replace that with something? I don't know. What do you get? Well, this is off topic, sort of. But would you guys want? Do you guys want the cameo game to continue in some way? Even the people's concern with Stan Lee's cameos, some negatives that I've heard is that it takes you out of the movie because it breaks the fourth wall for a moment. Even like no matter what's going on, you're like, oh, there's Stan Lee. You remember you're watching a movie. Do you like? So there's like you could put Kevin Feige in those roles. You could put in like random other actors or producers in those roles, or Deadpool. What do you guys think?
I would say for those that thought that it broke, that they were in a movie theater watching a movie, kind of a thing. Stanley was iconic. I mean, he was our carnival barker, and he was our uncle, and our dad, and our grandpa, all like wrapped into one.
Uncle Grandpa Dad.
Uncle Grandpa Dad. That was Stan Lee. It's like I always found joy in seeing that.
Same.
So that might be a have a sandwich and a nap kind of situation for people that weren't really feeling
his
that.
His cameo in Spider-Verse made me cry.
Right.
Like
he
like
did.
in the
He
theater.
had a few.
Yeah.
Like one where he's just like stepping over them when they were, smashed in the asphalt on the sidewalk. But yeah, as far as continuing the cameo game with anybody else, obviously love Feige. No. No. I would actually be in Amy's corner with it, and I think Amy and Gamer Girl, where I think Deadpool would be perfect for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were going to continue it, then we could. Otherwise, let's just go ahead and say that that's a wrap for the cameos.
Yeah.
I think you can do them once in a while where it makes sense. Like, remember the Incredible Hulk, the Ed Norton one had a cameo from Lou Ferrigno, who was the Hulk in the TV series. So when you do stuff like that once in a while where it makes sense,
That's cameos in general.
Yeah,
That's
I think
not
that's
the
fine.
Stan
But I
Lee
don't think
cameo.
I'm saying I don't think you should do one in every movie unless it's Deadpool. That's the only reason I think it's a good idea. But I interrupted Amy, and that was very mean of me.
Yeah, but we know
Yeah.
that you're mean, so.
No, I just feel like every Stan Lee cameo was like a nice little hug. And that you could always count on.
Yeah.
And so if it did continue, it would have to be from someone that, I mean, obviously there will never be another Stan Lee, but it has to have that same kind of importance. At least that character does. So yeah, Deadpool makes sense. If it's someone else, it's like, who else would we
This wouldn't work
really
at all.
attach ourselves to, So it's like, don't just throw it in there just because it's already been done, because it will never be done the same way. So just keeping that in mind, but I'm down for
Beeping
Deadpool.
Goat says Deadpool wearing Stan's glasses and mustache
That's-
over his mask.
That's what I want to see.
Best of both worlds.
That's what I was
love
gonna.
that.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I wanted like the wig, and he's got the glasses, the mustache.
At least one, if that's there, because there's a rumor that they're gonna put him into Spider-Man 3, and that's where Deadpool's gonna meet the MCU. Is in that movie?
would
That
love
would be the
that.
best way ever.
I'd be on board for that.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man's already starting to get into that multiverse thing, and like especially if Sony wants to try Spider-Verse into the live-action universe somehow, which they might. They already tried to get Tom Holland in there apparently.
I kind of
I'd
wish that
watch
they
it.
hadn't announced that. I kind of didn't need to know that Venom and Spider-Man were going to definitely, be a thing.
Yeah.
Because I kind of wanted Venom to have his own thing for a bit. I mean, in the back of my head, I always thought, eventually we're going to have Spider-Man and Venom, duke it out. But I kind of wish that they hadn't been like, hey, so the next movie, guess what? It's
So
like,
speaking
Telling
of
us
Venom,
everything. Yeah.
speaking of Venom, because on that was one of the stories from this week that Ruben Fleischer, who directed the first film, talked about them coming together, and that's where it's all building towards. And he said that's where it's all going to lead. Literally, that's the quote. And that's the exciting thing, because we changed the origin of Venom for the first movie. In the comics, he evolved from Spider-Man, but because of the Marvel Sony thing, we weren't able to do that. And so the thing I think it's building towards, and will be exciting to see, is when they actually do confront each other. So it's a weird thing about the Venom, like Venom starting with Eddie Brock and not with Peter Parker, is that you've reversed his whole story. But so you don't want it to build up to that, or you just wanted to not know about it.
I didn't want them to tell me that. In the back of my head, I knew it was going to happen. I kind of wanted Venom to have his own thing for a while.
Okay.
Because, I know there was like some mixed critic reviews for Venom itself. But I thought, they set a tone with it, and I enjoyed the Venom beast and what they were doing with that. And I would want them to continue down this, walking that tightrope. Of what's good, what's bad, them both being infected by each other. And I didn't necessarily need the giant shadow that is Spider-Man to be cast on top of, the process that they're trying to do with Venom. So
Yeah.
for me, that's what my thinking was.
I definitely agree with you on Venom. People were a lot harder on it than how I felt about it. I actually really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the relationship between Venom and Eddie Brock too. Like I thought that it was good. I thought it was funny. I thought it was entertaining. I liked what they did with the Beast a lot. I was like, oh man, they actually did this really well. And I thought they did a great job of pulling it off in PG-13 without making it feel like you're taking too much away from it. Like I think they did a great job. I liked Venom way more than everybody else did.
Why do you guys think they did tell us then that these are their plans?
Because that, I think, legitimizes the franchise a little bit more, and it ties it to something that's way more popular than the Sony
were
Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
So I think it's very much like a publicity, like, hey, we're still relevant. Like, even though we almost lost Tom Holland, now we still have him.
Remember?
Remember?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I think it is. It's they're tying to themselves to the MCU as long as they can.
And they tried to get him. The rumor is they even shot a scene with Tom Holland for the first movie, and then it just didn't make it because Kevin Feige said no. But that they, not as Spider-Man, but as Peter Parker, that he was going to be there on a school trip or something. And they kept. So they've been planning this. They wanted to do this from the beginning, but as long as they were making this deal with Marvel, they were like, no.
I mean, I feel like part of the gold mine that is the MCU is teasing just enough for us to be like, oh my god, and then that's it. Like, don't give us anything else. But I can understand like why Sony would freak out.
Yeah, and I also think that, I mean, we just heard from Markeia and Xia about, what they thought about the Deadpool, but about the Venom movie. Sorry to keep track. But what they thought about Deadpool, now again, I did it. But,
About
You have
Deadpool.
Deadpool on the
We're
brain.
excited. Yeah.
Just chew on my cigar. No, and
Just yell at
I
somebody
think,
and you'll
I think
feel
that the
better.
majority of people, were kind of disappointed with Venom in a lot of ways, and then the idea of like, yeah, but how about Spider-Man? Then you're like, yeah, okay, I'm not pretty excited about that. And also, we're talking about it, in a time when it's still a ways off. So I think that just keeping the conversation going is probably a big part of it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Venom, I mean, he ain't gonna know what hit him because he's got a second villain coming to his movie.
When I heard
10
this
people
news,
got that joke.
Go ahead. Sorry,
I don't think any of them are in the studio, so. Yeah.
Listen to that Eminem song again. You'll understand.
I love that Eminem song. I love it so much.
Amy was maybe one of the 10 people.
Get out of here.
I didn't hate it.
Shriek is apparently going to be, it's rumored to be in Venom 2 alongside Carnage.
I am so excited about this news.
Yeah?
Not because I'm a giant Shriek fan.
I was going to say.
I don't know anyone alive who's like, oh my god, so there's no Shriek merchandise, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But Shriek was introduced in the Maximum Carnage storyline, and like if they've got Carnage in the movie, and now Shriek is coming in, and she's kind of always been like,
yeah,
a lot of times she appears with him, so that makes me wonder, like, are they going to try and do like a Maximum Carnage-ish storyline, but with Venom?
That'd be dope if
because,
they
oh my god, like, talk about getting me to be excited about a Venom movie. Like, yes.
So Shriek, for those of you who don't know, has a power that can make sonic sound waves.
With her shriek? I'm
With
sorry.
her shriek, yes.
Essentially.
It's not just a clever name.
But what that means for Venom
Functional
is
as well.
sound waves being one of the best ways to control the symbiotes. Sorry, I'm trolling. But if you're going to defeat a symbiote, you have to use sound. Sound and fire are the two big things that Venom. So if you put a character who can literally make sound waves at you, that's real bad for Venom.
Which means that Venom's going to have to team up with someone, which is exactly what happened in the comic books when Spider-Man teamed up with Cloak and Dagger, and with who else did he team up with? Cloak and Dagger and Captain America. Was it Night Thrasher that he? No, was it Night?
he teamed up with Runaways too.
Not in Maximum Carnage.
You're talking just Maximum Carnage.
I'm
I was literally just
I'm just talking
filing
Maximum
through
Carnage.
allies of Spider-Man.
That was the
did the
thing that
same
made me
thing.
love
I
the
was
series.
like,
and
Daredevil?
it was a mid-90s comic book storyline, and when I was a kid and I was reading it, and I got to the end of one issue, and Captain America showed up. He's like, "You look like you could use some help, Spider-Man." I was like, "Is everyone gonna be in this?" And then everyone was. So I doubt that they're gonna get Captain America for it, but like I bet that they're gonna have a couple other heroes who have to come in and help Venom out.
Interesting.
And by Captain America, of course, you mean formerly known as Falcon.
Yes. Ooh, that would actually be kind of. The audience really like that.
It would be interesting to see if they use that as an excuse to bring other people in, and who Shriek is against, because you've got two symbiotes who are in theory going to be against each other.
Yeah.
So is Shriek going to side with Carnage or Venom?
She's going to side with Carnage, and then they're also going to bring in Carrion, and Carrion can decay organic matter with just a touch. He was also on Shriek and Carnage's team, so
I'm really liking this team up. This is sounding cooler and cooler. Do this, please.
yeah. Sony, do it.
Yeah, do it, guys. Do it.
Okay, so we're gonna keep going ahead, and this rumor is one that's close to my heart, but like,
very
don't
boring
you
rumor.
dare get my hopes up, internet. because it's like literally just like a rumor from a podcast with no sources identified. But maybe Ant-Man 3 is actually going into production. Woo! Or Ant-Man and the Wasp 2. I don't know how to refer to it.
Yeah, that's actually a good... Was Ant-Man like a standalone film, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp was its own standalone film?
I think you're just not going to number them. I mean, technically,
that's
Doctor
fair.
Strange... into the what is it?
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse of Madness doesn't have the number 2 in it.
Well, wasn't Winter Soldier not Captain America 2 Winter Soldier?
Only
and Civil
Iron
War?
Man
Yeah, just Iron Man.
has had
and
has
Thor
numbers.
2 Dark World.
Oh, yeah.
No,
you're right.
Oh, yeah.
it's
It's just Thor Dark World?
It's just
Just
Thor
Thor
Dark
Dark
World.
Oh, is it?
I thought it was
Yeah,
Thor
because
2 Dark
Spider-Man
World.
doesn't
No.
either.
Well, it depends on what Black Panther does then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's Black Panther 2
They just
or if
haven't
it's
released the
something
subtitle for it, I
else. Yeah,
think.
so we'll see.
So we'll have to see. But yeah, only Iron Man has gotten numbers in his movies.
Interesting.
It's probably in his deal. He
Yeah,
insists
probably
on
so.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the
numbers.
Wasp.
With lots of
Ghost
zeros
Odyssey.
after them.
I mean, he needs to be. It's movie Mark II,
Yeah.
movie Mark III.
Yes, perfect.
But yeah, so that's literally all the news. Is that
So-
like rumored to start in filming in 2021 for release somewhere.
So, being the biggest Ant-Man fan in the room, and maybe in the world,
Zach, your face got so
Possibly.
dreamy. I'm so sorry. I was
possibly
like,
in the world, what would you want to see from Ant-Man and the Wasp to Ant-Man 3?
There's so many ideas that I have, but we talked about a little bit last week. The idea that Eric O'Grady, the Black Ant, or the Irredeemable Ant-Man, who's like a former Shield agent who
Steals the suit.
who steals the suit from Hank Pym while Pym is working on Shield stuff. Steals it from Scott Lang, because what worse fate for a criminal than to be robbed?
Being stolen from. I really love that idea. I think that's super fun.
Yeah. So and there's apparently like some other people on the internet who have said like, oh, what have you got MODOK for this one? As an idea that was I didn't get a chance to look at like the whole thing that'd been written.
That's ambitious.
That's a fan poster there to be clear, but.
I have always wanted to see MODOK in the MCU. Like,
Yeah.
I am desperate to see.
I want to
Not
know what
just-
they would do with that. Like, what do
Yeah.
you like? Shield did like what we thought was teasing MODOK
Yeah.
because they had somebody say he was designed only for killing on the air.
His real name is George Tarleton, I think. Like George. Like, can you imagine like if they're like, Tarleton, come over here. Oh my God, that's MODOK. Yeah. He's gonna be. His head's gonna grow exponentially large.
That wasn't it, but he was a guy who got turned into an LMD, hated machines, but was really smart, and then kept talking about how he's like only there to kill.
Yep.
I like that Ant-Man and the Wasp MODOK, and you're like, what? And then like the tagline is big head, bigger attitude.
Big head for a tiny hero.
Yes. Oh my God. So yeah, you know where Ant-Man and the Wasp did just appear though? And I can say this because it was in all the trailers and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Avengers Damage Control. Avengers Damage Control is the VR experience.
Oh, that's the name of
At
the.
That's the
the
name of the
Void.
VR
Void.
experience at
Yeah.
the
I,
Void.
I'm
I
going
know,
on
did you just
Saturday.
get happy for a second? Like, wait, how are they going to do damage control?
I was
They
like,
already-
wait! I haven't
already
heard
put
damage
it
control news.
together.
What?
No, that's the name. So we talked about it last week that the Void is releasing, and it releases tomorrow, Friday. They're doing a big VR experience that we got to go try out. Christian Z and I went a week ago, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers. But this is like what they sort of show you in the intro video is that you are going to the Wakandan Outreach Center. That's the one that is in Oakland, teased in the end of
Yeah.
Black Panther. And they're putting you in what you can see on screen. This is like the poster that they put out for it. They basically put you in a Wakandan Iron Man suit.
yeah, it's awesome. Shuri introduces the whole thing to you. You watch like a little thing, and it's cool. It's super cool. It was my
Yeah.
first VR experience. Also, I
And
thought
when
I
it-
was gonna get sick. You don't.
Yeah, no, she was actually
Just so-
Zia was super worried.
Christian
at
had to
first.
hold my
I did have to
hand.
hold her hand at first.
Christian
and
held
then,
my hand
and then she
at the
was like,
beginning
"No,
of
this
it.
is awesome."
I was like,
So,
"This is amazing."
yeah, I didn't know what it was either. They strap us into these suits. I'm like, wait, are we like getting pulled up on? No. We're
It's
not.
completely
Yeah.
mobile VR. You're
Yeah.
not tied to anything.
which is
You
great.
just- You go through this maze. There are locations around the country, which we got wrong last week, by the way. In case you were like, why is it only in LA? No, it's in all kinds of places around. There's one in Florida. There's one in New York. There's one in Chicago. Like, just check
There's
your
a
local.
couple in the Midwest.
Check your local listings.
Check your local map.
But it's only going to be there for 4 weeks.
Right.
So go.
And it is.
I
a blast.
recommend it.
Ant-Man and the Wasp pop up, and they show some great moments there in the trailer. But you also get to, like that was like. like where you. Yeah.
And like if you're gonna do
lost it.
VR, this is how you're gonna do VR. Like I've seen Skyrim in VR, and it was one of those things where I was like, I love that game. I played it so many times, and I saw it in VR, and I was like,
All right.
I'm not gonna do that. But this, it's like next, like where you're like, oh my god, I can see where VR is going. Like they did such a good job.
Yeah.
Like such a good job.
The Downtown Disney has the Star Wars one, which is amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Oh,
And
I
like
wanna do that.
they make the environment like feel like you're in the actual place. Like if there's a wall next to you, you can feel the wall. And there's a part where in the Star Wars one where you walk over like kind of like some very like it's cooling magma. Like it's not necessarily hot, but it's still squishy ground, and it's actually squishy there. So like
That's
they
awesome.
map the VR over that texture, but like you don't know what it is because you're in the VR. So I'm very like I'm going on Saturday. I'm very excited for this.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
gonna
we
have so
don't
much
want to,
fun.
and we don't want to give away spoilers, but
Yeah,
there's so
or
many
too much.
characters that you interact with that you might think like, oh, okay, this was fun, and then a whole bunch more later. So it's just there's so many things that are included, and you're just like, oh wow, I didn't expect to see them, and I don't know, we didn't get a great answer on it, but it seemed like it's all the actors doing the voices.
I
And,
think-
It
and if
is-
it's not, it's really convincing that they got sound alikes.
It is some of the actors, definitely. There was one spoiler character that I'm not going
Right.
to talk about who is confirmed to have been a sound alike.
Gotcha.
Somebody that you meet towards the end of it that I know is a sound alike. You can find it online, but I'm not going to ruin the reveal
Yeah.
of this character. But there's things that I know Matt will freak out about, little details, and it is set in the MCU. It's not, however, going to be technically MCU quote unquote canon. We got to talk to Dave Bashore from Marvel Studios last week, and you can check out on Marvel. It's going to be on Marvel News Daily.
It'll be on Marvel News Daily, and we'll also do a special Marvel TV Weekly somewhere in the next few days. You'll see all of that in both of those places.
where
yeah.
we got to interview them and some of the creators, and so it's not canon per se, but it is like canon adjacent. So like it's
Canon
not
pocket
going to
universe.
affect anything going forward, but it is set in the continuity that we know from the MCU. So all the characters that you know, it's fun.
I'm very
It's
excited.
fun. And just so like you know where you can go if you're so it's in Anaheim at Downtown Disney, Santa Monica, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Las Vegas, Plano, Texas, Washington D.C. It's in New York City, Edmonton, Mississauga in Ontario,
Oh, I was gonna say,
Well done.
what's Mississauga?
Toronto, Ontario, and Genting in Malaysia.
Yep.
That's
yeah, that
where you
makes
can
sense.
do
Yeah, I would put it in Malaysia.
all of
cool.
that's
Cool.
where you can do the Avengers. So
Let's
it is
go
so
do
a
it
couple
in
places
Malaysia,
around
Amy.
the globe. I don't have fingers.
Two things in one.
Before-
Side note: Spider-Man suit is not thermally designed to work with smart devices.
Before we move on, it's a minor conversation we were having a moment ago, but Kame Egan points out that the Guardians of the Galaxy was Volume 2. So that is, in fact, another time that we had a number in a movie. I wanted to give
call.
credit for that.
Yeah. You're right. Volume 2.
So just Guardians and Iron Man so far.
But it made sense with it because it was, very music. It was, Volume 2.
Right.
It was like it made sense with that particular movie.
Are you guys gonna go check it out? I know Matt's already got plans. Amy, are you going?
I will definitely try. I would love to. I actually have not super happy experiences with VR, but because of what you said, Zia, I'll definitely try.
Yeah,
too.
it was like, it's a tiny bit disorienting in the beginning, but once you're like, okay, cool. And because of this is so much better than I thought it was going to be, it was more seamless. It wasn't like you were aware that you were in this weird world. Like it was immersive enough. That's the word I was looking for. Like immersive enough that you believed it, and your body's like, and your mind is like, okay, cool. Like I'm in
We're
this. Like
okay.
I'm doing
Don't get
this.
scared.
Exactly.
The VR is
exactly.
very good. Where like it's designed to work with the environment. So if you go to touch a wall, there's a wall to touch, and it can sense where you are. The hands like are it sees your hands, and they'll float like very close to where your hands are. It can be a little bit disorienting. If you have vertigo, I don't necessarily think it's a good idea because there is some stuff with moving down. But it's not there's not a ton of motion because you're walking and it walks with you. It's not simulating you moving.
Yeah. You're setting
You're
your
actually
own pace
doing
as you go through. So it's like you can take, there were a couple, the first time that we went downstairs, I really slowed down. And then I grabbed her hand.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait. But
humans around me.
You can set your own pace.
You
So
can
I can see
crawl.
that you're a little worried, Amy. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Z, I'll go with you.
I
You'll
will go
hold
with
my
you.
hand.
We can hold hands, yes.
Well, it sounds like a blast, especially you're wearing a Wakandan, Black Panther suit. I mean, that alone would get me in the door.
It's super
It's
cool.
literally just a scheduling thing. October is busy, y'all.
Yeah, you've got 4
Oh my
weeks.
gosh. Yeah, well, I will definitely do my best because it sounds like a blast.
Although they did tease the potential for revisiting this in the future.
I'm sure they will.
Nice.
This is
Run.
probably more
Nice.
of a test to see like how it does
Yeah.
and like if it's popular, if people are demanding it.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I'm sure.
So demand
Yeah.
it, people.
So this is fun. Different sort. Moving back to Disney Plus for a moment. I don't know if did you guys see the Twitter storm that Disney Plus put out on Monday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they tweeted in release order.
Oh my God.
Everything that will be on Disney Plus. Just 1 tweet per item.
Yeah.
For everything. It was over 300 tweets, and a lot of them Marvel content.
Literally, all I want to do is sit and eat cereal and watch cartoons for like a month.
So we're
That's
basically
it.
going to do
Hard same.
7 again.
Yes.
A
Yes.
ton of Marvel animated content that you can get, and 7 movies. A couple that we didn't know about that are going to be on the system. So here, as fast as I can, are all of the Marvel things that you'll be able to watch on Disney Plus on day 1.
Oh my God.
Captain Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, Avengers Age of Ultron, Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Iron Man 1994, Iron Man Armored Adventures 2008, Spider-Woman 1979, Spider-Man 1981, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends 1981, Spider-Man 1994, Spider-Man Unlimited 1999, Ultimate Spider-Man 2012, Spider-Man 2017, Fantastic Four 1994, Fantastic Four World's Greatest Heroes 2006, Silver Surfer 1998, Darkwing Duck, The Avengers United They Stand, The Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes 2010, Avengers Assemble 2013, Guardians of the Galaxy Animated 2015, The Inhumans, Marvel Rising, Secret Warriors, The Incredible Hulk 1996, Hulk and the Agents of Smash 2013, X-Men in the Animated Series from
Yes.
1992, X-Men Evolution from 2000,
Also,
Wolverine
yes.
and the X-Men
Also, yes.
from 2009.
I think my
lot.
favorite Marvel property in there was Darkwing Duck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I get my... That's like on my major list of things I need to rewatch.
I'm pretty excited for it.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
gummy bears.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
he's a superhero. Like, just got folded in there. Also, I just wanted to see if people would pick up on that.
The one.
Which is why, Zia, when you were like, DuckTales, it's like, that's my joke for later.
Sorry. Everybody's so excited about it, though.
Side note, if you love commentaries on the whole reboot culture that we've now entered, watch the DuckTales recent episode about Darkwing Duck. It's one of the best things I've ever
Really?
seen.
Really?
I've got to start that
Okay.
show.
Me too.
It's peach stuff. Anyway, I'm curious for you guys, with that giant list, what's the first thing that you want to watch on Disney Plus from Marvel?
Well, oh, go ahead. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no, I was in my own head. I was like, did you say Earth's Mightiest Heroes? Or did
Yes,
I say
I
that in my head?
did.
That's mine. Okay, go ahead.
Nice. No, I was just gonna say I, like an idiot, bought the first 2 seasons of X-Men the Animated Series because I just really wanted to watch them, and so I've watched and bought the first 2 seasons. So now I'm going to get that so I can continue it without paying for each season on YouTube because it's
Man,
not that cheap.
I love that series so much. Like that and Earth's Mightiest Heroes are what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes is amazing.
Like-
Amy, you have one in mind?
Honestly, I would love to, because growing up, I didn't watch that many, well, actually, any Marvel comic related things, like animated stuff. So I would love to get into that now.
It's
because
so fun.
I'm an adult and I can.
Well, for the low price of
Yeah.
$69 a year.
Oh, I'm a founding member.
Oh, yeah.
See?
So.
And a
Founding
lot of
members,
these shows, were still running on. Actually, some of these shows were on Netflix not that long ago, and I checked out a lot of them, like Unlimited and the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'd like to actually watch all. But I'm definitely going to be most excited to watch my first love, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, because I watched it as a kid, and I've started
Same.
watching it with my 4-year-old because I think it's the right. Yeah, for Felix, that I think that's the right pace of Spidey. The Disney XD Spidey right now, it's a little too scary because you got Venom, you got Superior Spider-Man. I'm like, few years that'll be good for him. But Spidey and His Amazing
such a
Friends is
good
perfect. I'm here right now. So how good of a dad could I possibly be?
So that's I think I gotta say with Markeia and Matt, like I actually own, like I bought Earth's Mightiest Heroes on Amazon just because I wanted to watch it recently.
It's so good.
It's so good, but I might just like click on it so that I can watch it again on this service.
Why not?
If you've never seen Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it ran for only 2 seasons.
And then Jeff Loeb.
It got unfortunately canceled in
Jeff
favor
Loeb.
of a more MCU similar show called Avengers Assemble.
Jeff Loeb.
But Earth's Mightiest Heroes is one of also the most comic book accurate versions. They've like of 616. If any adaptation, it is the closest to what the 616 is of anything you've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I felt similar to Earth's Mightiest Heroes as I did watching the X-Men animated series way back when, because that, like, they had so many X-Men stories in there. Like, they had the Phalanx coming in, they had Techno-Organic Virus, they had, like, Bishop storyline, they had the Days of Future Past. It was like, they were borrowing from every single story that had ever come out.
And the
X-Men.
They rope it, Earth's Mightiest Heroes ropes in X-Men at certain times, ropes in the Fantastic Four for an episode or two here and there. Like, it treats you like you're a comic book fan and rewards it if you know. Also, like, Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne are amazing in that show.
Yeah.
It's not a small part of why they like went from like I really like these characters to these are my favorite characters. It's so much fun. I know that we're going to unfortunately be losing our Amy Cassandra-Martinez in a few minutes.
That sounds really scary. What are you planning on doing?
Because you're clearly an agent and you have to go deep undercover.
I do.
We're not losing you. You're just going to be incognito.
You're just disappearing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She's going to get blipped away.
Whoa!
We'll see you in 5 years. It'll be fine. No, you'll be fine.
Wait, if there's a blip, that's only 1 out of 6. What are the odds on the rest of us?
No, at least half of us
See
are
you later,
going.
I hope Zia goes.
Actually, technically,
ouch.
if you jump to
Damn
next
it.
week's episode, it will look like somebody blipped the
Yep.
studio.
That's true.
So, Amy, I wanted to ask you, because we're going to talk about it a little bit later,
Yes.
but do you have a favorite memory from your time on Marvel Movie News?
Yeah, actually, we touched on it slightly earlier on in the show, but Koi and I semi-singing / rapping the Eminem song called Venom. Honestly. Yeah, it was fun because I think Yell was with us in that episode.
Oh, my God.
And she was just like, what is going on? And we were like, yeah, Eminem, isn't it great? And I was like, I don't really get to geek out with people over Eminem. And then I'm like, and then we have Venom. Never did I think that these two would come together. And then they did, and we were rapping, and it was great.
Well, see, in that context, I think you're actually mispronouncing Venom, though. Because I believe Venom. You have to hit the M really, really hard.
I love that song
Venom,
so
yeah.
much. Yeah, I'm most definitely going to listen to it as soon as I, get back to my mission.
Amazing.
As soon as I get out of the studio, I'm finding that clip of you
Yeah,
guys
I
rapping.
actually really want to see that.
I'm gonna need to find that.
Yeah.
For anyone else, if I find it, I'll clip it out. But Amy's like,
It's
oh yeah,
fun. Yeah.
Good.
Oh, I'm very proud of that.
Okay, yay.
It was a wonderful moment, and I was like, yeah, I guess I could also be a rapper if I really wanted to.
I believe that.
Sure, why not?
I do.
Other Earths in this one, so
Exactly. That's what I always say.
I just hope that we get to see Eddie Brock rapping in the next one.
Wow.
With Andy Serkis directing, I'm sure that'll happen.
They just have Eminem do motion capture for it, for Venom's, like, actual rapping.
That would
That would
actually
be
be kind of
interesting.
great.
That actually kind of
That
Yep.
would be kind of great. Yeah.
Look, I hereby waive my rights to that idea. In case Andy Serkis is listening, you can have that. And this is on video, so you have proof. The lawyers are totally abated. All right, so Amy, you can slip out whatever you need to.
Yeah,
We're going to
it'll
keep
be-
going.
You're not even gonna notice. It's gonna be cool.
because you're an agent.
That's how
that good.
Exactly.
Because there's 2 more stories, and I think we've got to just slide into, very smoothly, Marvel TV time.
Yeah.
With the beautiful music.
Marvel movie news. We're talking TV time.
Here's air guitar here.
I remember that.
I never had that when I did the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It came on when we were here.
Yeah. It was,
That's great. I like it.
Do we know who did that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I don't
a
have.
fan.
It was a fan. It was a fan submitted thing, but I don't have the name.
It's longer. There's
That's-
a longer thing.
Wait, is there a dance mix version?
Well, it's like that. It talks about each person on the panel. I think it rhymes with a name or two, and then it ends with the way that it just did.
It's a jam for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
I just
amazing.
took it for
I've
granted
gotta look
that it
that
was
up.
here. Yeah, I didn't even know.
I knew it was a fan, but I don't have the name with me, so I wish I could shout them out.
If you're in the chat right now, go ahead. Let us know.
Yeah. So the Marvel TV news for this week is some Disney Plus stuff that's going to be fun.
course
There's a rumor
it
that
is.
Liv Tyler might be coming back for She-Hulk. In her, not as She-Hulk. People were like, she's gonna play She-Hulk. It's like, no, she's already a Hulk character, you guys. You may have forgotten because nobody watched the Incredible Hulk in years.
I did.
I like Incredible Hulk. I think
good.
I think it's too much
enjoyed
hate.
it.
Yeah.
I did not hate Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, no, I
watch
thought
in
it was that was the
theaters.
one with Ang Lee. Yeah.
No.
No,
This
wait,
was
which
the
one
good.
am I thinking
This was
of?
the good one.
That was
Yeah.
the Hulk.
Oh, there it is.
Or just Hulk. That was just Hulk.
Yeah.
Directed by
Okay.
Ang Lee. No, the
Okay,
Ed
so
Norton
we're
one,
talking-
which is MCU and has continued to influence the MCU because Thunderbolt Ross keeps popping up
Right.
in Civil War,
Right.
in Infinity War. He's supposedly going to be in Black Widow. Apparently,
That's what I heard too. Yeah.
But so Betsy Ross might be coming back for She-Hulk.
I would like that.
I am on board for that. I think that
Not a
sounds
lot.
great.
I mean, Betty's a good character, and Liv Tyler. For those that are in the audio version right now, I'm trying to very, very carefully take off the.
I was
going
gonna
to
celebrate
to a
with-
sheet cake, a giant sheet cake
We
that's
were
in
going
there,
to
just
celebrate
because I
with
want
that
to.
after the news.
Just because I want to smell it.
I love where your head's at.
Yeah, push the whole
Okay.
show ahead.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that
I'm
you've
trying to
managed to
rein in
not
our
open that
coasts
so
here
far.
today.
It smells so
Yeah.
good.
Come on, it's cake.
Oh my God.
No, if Zia and I were sitting on the couch, we would have
God.
definitely
We've already
smashed
eaten
it in each other's faces.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing like a low sugar thing right now, so this is
Can you eat this today?
ambrosia. I'm gonna.
You're
eat this
like-
today. I'm gonna eat this.
You're allowed. You're allowed.
Yeah. So no, I plan for instances like this.
I've been trying to cut back on sugar. It's hard.
It's very hard.
my
It is.
God.
It's very
I went
hard.
from over 100 grams a day to 25.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, that is not Marvel related, but that is impressive. Yeah.
We talked about it before the show, and then I had it written down properly, and I still said Betsy Ross.
Yeah.
It's tricky because like Marvel named that character after an American hero.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
except
Yeah.
like
So
they took
Betty-
out one letter. Like they
Betty
changed one letter.
Ross
Yeah.
is coming to She-Hulk. Rumor
Rumored to
but
be coming.
But I would like to see it. I think it'd be fun, and I like. Even Ed Norton has talked about like I'll come back and play a villain, which in my what if because he said that this week. What if Ed Norton played the leader?
Oh,
I could see that.
that could be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be on board for that.
I would totally.
I think that the entire studio would not be on board for that. I think that they're not interested in Mr. Norton's services henceforth. But as a fan, I'd love to see it.
It was apparently not a very
Yeah, it didn't go
good
well.
It
relationship.
was not an amicable breakup.
No.
Yikes.
But you know who they do have an amicable relationship with? Is somebody
Eric
else
Bana?
that they're talking about.
Glad you laughed.
Somebody else they're talking about casting in an upcoming Disney Plus show, and the rumor says that Vin Diesel might be getting ready to come onto Disney Plus
Heck yes.
in a role that he's been campaigning for years.
His
but
mouth shaking his
then
head
they
right
had
now.
somebody else play him on a TV show. But Vin Diesel as Black Bolt
What?
is apparently back in the ether for the Miss Marvel. Not cartoon, but live action
Live
show.
action
Live
show.
action.
Because Miss Marvel being an Inhuman, we had a lot of questions about what are they going to do with the Inhumans and her Inhuman blood. We talked about the possibility that, and the irony if they turned it so that like, where even though they had taken a bunch of mutant characters and said no, they're Inhumans now because we have the rights to those. Now they have the mutant rights, but Inhumans is so muddled. What if they made Miss Marvel? They made Kamala
mutant?
Khan a mutant instead. But if they bring in the Inhuman royalty. Then Black Bolt could show up. What do you guys think?
I think, in this time of remakes and, redos and reboots and everything that No. Sorry, the wound is still it's still fresh. Okay, no wait. I'm sure they can do it in as long as Kamala Khan is obviously like the main focus with it, and then you have that the Inhumans be part of the world where they're fleshing out the world that she is a part of. Then sure, I could kind of see them go in that direction. I mean, with Vin Diesel, I mean. It helps to have someone that's campaigning and that's passionate for it. I mean, this has worked for us in the past. Obviously, Deadpool being perfect and whatnot. Because of what he did in Pitch Black with just like the silence and intensity, those parts, not when he was like joking around and stuff, and then just like the he has this stare thing that's actually really, really it's entrancing.
That's all you have to do with Black Bolt is stare at people.
And I think he would show enough respect with the character, and then also know the character enough where it could be, and has enough star power to be like, no, this isn't what he would do. We're not going to make up a language and everything. And, we're not going to go this route. And so I think that could be a possibility.
Just imagine hiring Vin Diesel and then you put his 2 salaries together and he gets all of it divided amongst 3 words, I am Groot. And I think him being Black Bolt, I can't imagine putting him on a TV show. I just don't think that's where that casting would go. I did like what you were saying, though, about the idea of, look, I think why the Inhumans work in the comics is because you get to know them through the Fantastic Four and through the Avengers and everything. Starting off with them, that probably, they're good characters. I think if you get to know them a little bit here and there, maybe they show up in a series, a movie here and there, and then we can like them. I think that's really, that's what's appealing about this. Maybe we get 1 or 2 of them here.
Yeah.
And as long as we get Lockjaw at some point, I kind of don't care about anybody else.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
That was when I was reading that, I was like, they just better have Lockjaw. If they do not have a 1-ton bulldog, then
I ignored
they are
the many shortcomings of Inhumans, the TV show, because of how much I liked Lockjaw.
I gave that show a chance because of how much I liked Lockjaw, and I only made it to episode 3.
Oh,
That's much farther than I did.
I watched all 8 of them. And
poor man.
what I'll say about it is that Anson Mount made a great Captain Pike on Star Trek Discovery. That's what I can say about it.
Everything about that show was broken.
I legitimately did not watch it because it looked so bad. I was like, oh, that's not going to be good. I'm not putting myself through that. And I didn't.
I went to the IMAX
I did too.
screening to see it and left just like shaking my head and sad. Yeah. Because I was just mad for Medusa. That was what the thing that made me the most angry.
We're gonna put this character in, and then we're gonna take all of her power away.
Yeah, it was weird. I get that it was like too expensive, but so this is the other thing why I think Vin Diesel. Yes, it's a quote unquote TV show, but we were talking before, $150 million budget for one series.
You're gonna give it all to Vin Diesel, all $150 million.
But you don't even he's only gonna appear in 2 episodes.
Well, and the other thing is that we're like Inhumans coming to Ms. Marvel makes absolute sense because she's an Inhuman, all that stuff. Yeah. Like she got her powers during that whole Terrigen mist cloud going all over the Earth episode that they did. But that also created a lot of other Inhumans, and there's a lot of other Inhumans in the Inhuman society. So I think it's more likely that we're going to see normal not royal family Inhumans. I think that this is probably just a rumor, because Vin Diesel really wants to do Black Bolt, but he really wanted to do Black Bolt 3 years ago. This is when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is just the same thing, just 3 years later. So I really kind of am not buying into that one as much, but I do think they have to have the Inhumans in there. But to do damage control, I don't know that they'll do the royal family. As much as I would love to see a great take on Black Bolt, because he's one of my top 10 favorite Marvel characters of all time, I think that they will probably not want to associate themselves with the royal family in a failed ABC show, and will instead choose some other Inhuman characters.
I would think we would see the royal family at some point, but like you're saying, the wounds all across the multiverses are far too fresh that I don't think we're going to see them. And let me just throw in from the chat, For Us Initiative, or have Black Bolt act like a millennial and text the whole series.
As long as if they focused on, what makes the Inhumans, well, for me, so incredible is that you literally have a community that is built around in the purest sense what community is. You have people stepping into the Terrigen Mist to then become whatever it is that the community needs, that society needs. That is huge. And that's commonplace. That's so pure to me. And so then that's how you get, people that I'm a door that leads to wherever you want. It's like, you used to be a person. Now you're a door.
Now you're a doorway to wherever I need to go.
Yeah, and you've got opinions about that, and this is interesting to read, that kind of a thing.
And we don't like to think about it, but Lockjaw was a person at one time. That's how it works.
Yep, that's how it works.
He's a dog now, but he was once a human being.
I would love to see that. Have they ever written that origin?
I don't think
I don't think
so,
they have.
But like, he is an Inhuman, and so it means he was human once.
They don't have animals in the Inhuman Society.
Mm-mm.
They should write that story. Make that into a show.
Yeah.
Who was Lockjaw?
Yeah.
We need to know. But the other half of this rumor, and why it may not have real, is that like they also were saying that Aaron Taylor Johnson was being considered.
Oh, to play Maximus?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But he's already been Quicksilver in this universe.
Yeah,
Well,
but
he
not
is
the
dead.
good one.
He is dead.
He is dead.
But he like the difference between like using.
Took me a
Wow.
second.
Wow.
No, he's not the good one.
He's-
We've said that on the show before.
I disagree.
We have said
I disagree with
that
that.
on
I
the
think there are
show.
two
I know
good
you
ones.
liked him.
But we've seen his face
We have,
before,
yeah.
as opposed to like Gemma Chan is going to play two roles, but she was a blue Kree in one role, and she's going to be more human looking,
Yeah.
like just herself in the Eternals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
and
she
Vin
was
Diesel
disguised
shows up as a tree, and then
You'll
he can show
know.
up as
No,
himself.
Vin Diesel can show up as Vin Diesel.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
by hearing his voice as I am Groot, you would never associate that with Vin Diesel if you weren't told.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think because of Josh Brolin, now everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead, double
Yep.
up. Just, be
I'm
different.
Thanos. Also, I'm
do it good.
Cable.
Yes.
yeah, what
Yeah.
happened?
Yes.
What happened? Well, that's the biggest. That's
And
another thing
well.
with Deadpool. What happens when Cable shows up, and then he's just like, they're like, I don't trust you for some reason. He just like starts snapping, walking down the street, like don't do that.
Why does that scare me so much?
He'll be like, I can break you in two just like that. And then looks at the camera.
Well, I think it's time that we. That's the news for this week. I think it's time that we let's go into Doom's question corner, which is a thing we do now.
No, I'm on board.
Yeah,
I'm on board.
Yes, Doom.
I saw a question in the chat
Yeah.
earlier that I think it was directed to me if I remember correctly, and it was Nightmare who should play him, and my first thought was Crispin Glover.
Oh
Wow.
Nightmare,
Oh.
the Doctor Strange
That's-
super duper villain.
That's a great call. Does Crispin Glover still work? And I don't mean is
I
he
don't
employed?
know.
I mean as an
Does he
entity.
still-
Does he work? Does he function? You know,
Yeah.
we haven't seen him in a while, have we?
I don't know if he's
Yeah.
acting anymore or not. I have no idea.
But it's a great idea. I think he could only have gotten weirder in the last few decades.
as he's aged. Yeah.
Because look at that, like this picture we have for those on YouTube. That picture's probably 20 years old. You
Yeah.
know?
I still will never
no,
forget
that's
that they.
from American Gods.
Oh, okay. Well, see, there you go. That's where he is now.
There you go.
I'll still never forget that he was in Charlie's Angels and they called him Creepy Thin Man, and I was like,
That's
Kind of
that's
purpose.
typecasting.
Yeah.
Well, we also have it's a great answer
you.
for who we get as Nightmare, probably
Thank
in
you.
Multiverse of Madness.
Thank you. Well, Scott Derrickson has gone he's on record saying that his favorite Doctor Strange villain is Nightmare.
Yeah, and
So-
he's also said before it was even approved that that's what he planned for the sequel, and now he's doing the sequel.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
I want to see Shuma-Gorath. That's all I'm saying. Multiverse of Madness. They better put in.
I want some Brother Voodoo action.
talked about that.
that would be so
Yeah,
cool.
we all
Such a
agree
nice
with you on that.
connection.
Yeah.
I still think in this multiverse we're going to get different Sorcerer Supreme from different universes.
Yeah,
So that's where
entirely
we meet
possible.
a Brother Voodoo, who's the Sorcerer Supreme of his dimension. We meet a Wanda Maximoff, who is the
is-
Sorcerer Supreme of her dimension.
Magic.
Oh, yeah,
Magic.
magic.
Oh, and there's another universe where Tony Stark is the Sorcerer Supreme.
and then we just get Robert Downey Jr. cameos from
Yeah.
then on, and that's how we do that.
Yeah.
I would do that.
I'd be okay with that cameo in a
Let's
Doctor
do it.
Strange
Let's
movie.
do it. This one was sent into us on Twitter. Nolan Dean wanted to know if you could give any Marvel villain their own solo title, who would it be?
We're talking about the
villain.
print comic book or
Any
not
villain,
a series?
Any villain.
Yeah.
They said that
Not
they'd
a
love
TV
to see
series.
an Electro.
They would love to see an Electro, yeah.
Okay.
So
You're
there's
gonna say
some.
Doom.
Yeah.
Yes, Doom deserved. Like
And I believe
we know that
he's had his own series.
his own series, but I guess when they say solo title, I mean,
Do you mean
like
film?
Yeah.
film. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh God,
That's
why
what you
am I,
mean,
why
like-
am I
Okay,
blanking
that's what
on
I
his
was
name?
asking.
Yeah, the guy who did
geneticist Bryan Cranston has gone on record saying that he wants to play this villain like so many times.
Who-
He's a geneticist. He's
Sinister.
Is it?
Mr.
Oh,
Sinister
Mr.
from the
Sinister.
X-Men?
Thank you. I was
Yeah.
like, why? And I was sitting here. It's like, why can't I remember the villain's name? And why do I keep on saying in my head the Sinister Six? That was my process.
We should get that too, I believe. But,
yeah. I would want to stand alone with Mr. Sinister. I want him to
that could be interesting.
start off as a goodie, and then because things happen, and as he transitions into a villain, and then you go along that journey with him. Cast a really great actor in that role. You go along that journey with him, and you're like, yeah, I would have been a villain too. And I want you to feel that way by the end of the movie. And then you put him in a movie with, one of your heroes from Spider-Man, and whatnot. And then you see both sides of yourself in one movie. And I would love that.
That would be great. I mean, he's also been a big part of the recent House and Powers of X series that's coming. So they are pushing that character more towards the front of things.
He was in
but
the
yeah.
X-Men the animated series.
Just
think
give
he was.
He was, yeah.
Give me
I like the way they
Noah
did that
Hawley's
too.
Doom movie, for the love of God.
A what?
Noah Hawley's. Well, he was.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
been writing
yeah.
one, and everything that's come out about it. It sounds like it's based on Books of Doom, which is my favorite little mini run on that character because it gives you all of his origin stories, and how he learned to use magic and all of this stuff. And I'm just like,
His techno magic.
Do that.
Michael Blake in the
why not?
chat said my answer, Craven the Hunter.
Yeah.
I would love to see
Ooh.
Craven
That'd
the
be
Hunter,
nice.
but that's also because I just very much want to see Craven's last hunt on the big screen. But I think that he's
that would be so amazing.
Right, that's what I've been calling for. It's sort of like my version of Deadpool. Most weeks on this show, I say that's what I want to see.
does.
But I think Craven
true.
as a character that could work. I'd love to see like young Craven, and work his way up to when he meets Spidey. So that's somebody I'd like to see.
I would love to see Vincent D'Onofrio reprise his role of Kingpin.
Oh, well, sure.
And put that in a movie. And I would also like to see Charlie Cox back as I know we talked about that rumor as Daredevil, and I would like to bring them both into the MCU.
Now
I think
that
that'd be
you've
awesome.
got Kevin Feige in charge of everything,
Yeah.
he has
Maybe.
control over. Like he's in charge, but so now we could see. He said apparently he likes Charlie Cox.
Yes, and then you could bring them into the MCU, and then you could have Spider-Man and Daredevil team ups, and then that.
Right.
Would,
Well, when I can't remember if it was Hall H or Ballroom 20, but when they made the announcements for the Netflix shows at Comic-Con a few years ago, Jeff Loeb and Kevin Feige were both on stage, and Jeff Loeb said that Kevin Feige was the one who actually found Charlie Cox, and he called him one night and said, if we ever get the rights back to Daredevil, I know who I want to play Matt Murdock, and it was Charlie Cox.
That's great.
So
So that's why
Wow.
Kevin Feige's like, yeah, we gotta get him.
Yeah, we gotta-
So they get the
That's
rights
perfect.
back to the character next year.
yes.
Nice.
Make it
Then
happen.
they can. Those shows stay on Netflix, the ones that have been produced, but they can still use the actors and do anything that they want with those
Awesome.
characters.
my answer to the question, the first thing I thought of was
Shuma
like,
Gorath.
no, he does not deserve his own movie. I don't know any Doctor Strange villains that like deserve their own movie. Like I was racking my brain. I was like, maybe Baron Mordo, but
He was actually one I was thinking of because
like,
because
could
I
be
liked his
interesting, but-
MCU entry and it
Yeah.
earned. If he's not the villain of Doctor Strange 3, then I don't know why not.
Yeah.
Because they set it up.
yeah, they really did. My answer was the Breaking Bad story of Kang, the Conqueror.
Oh, wow.
Because Kang
Okay.
starts off as
Yeah.
good, and he like even comes back in time and joins the Young Avengers as Iron Lad, and they're all like,
Yeah.
"Wow, this kid's really smart and really good at this," and he's really just has future tech because he's from 1,000 years in the future. But like he starts off as a good person and well-meaning and a hero, and then over time he falls apart and becomes Kang the Conqueror, who like conquers everyone through time travel. And I would love to see what leads to that. Like, what leads to you
cool.
being the conqueror through time?
Like he lived long enough to see himself become the villain.
Exactly.
Yep.
I want to see that story.
Those are always the
cool.
most fascinating
In the
villains.
chat, Jenna James throws in a few, some of which were mentioned: Doom, Magneto, Kingpin, Norman Osborn, and also Mr. Sinister. So
Nice.
she would
Yeah.
like all of those movies.
Magneto was my other one.
Magneto,
Yeah.
I think, would be great, and the fact that we
Always.
didn't get the Michael Fassbender standalone Magneto movie is very disappointing.
Those
Yeah.
10 minutes of
Yeah.
Magneto in the woods
Yeah.
in Apocalypse were like the greatest not made into a full-length movie that I've ever seen.
So, by the way, while we're talking about X-Men, I finally had a chance to watch the Dark Phoenix movie.
Oh.
And I've got a hot take on it.
Okay.
I liked
stand
it.
back.
I liked it. I liked it.
I've said that on the show. Yeah.
I know. Nothing about the film actually works. Like
No.
the story is a mess. The acting is not great. There are shots in there that I was like, "That's your shot that you're going with." Like the lighting. There were times when I was like, "Why am I paying attention to the lighting?" It's so. Who is your gap?
The terrible makeup
like
they put on.
like.
Freaking what's her face to make her into? Sorry, I
Yeah,
just that
no,
bothered me
like,
so much. I was
there was
like,
a lot
what
of-
is this?
There was a lot about the physical production of the movie and a lot about the creative that I was like, wow, I can see why everyone like dogged on this movie. However, there is a particular tone that runs throughout that entire movie that it felt like Simon Kinberg was like going back to 1992 and asking his like 10-year-old self what he would like to see in a movie, because that's what I saw. I would be like, oh my God, that's the Blackbird. Oh my God, Nightcrawler did what? That's awesome.
Yeah, I found some joy in that movie, and the way that I viewed it was that if you have fans that enjoyed Apocalypse, then they would enjoy Dark Phoenix. And then I was also keeping in mind that this wasn't supposed to be a conclusion of X-Men. This was supposed to be a setup for a new thing that they were doing, and then because it ended up having to be a finale. So there was a lot of weight that was put on it. Within the movie itself, though, I thought that there were a number of things that were like, kid, cool. Because, like, seriously, I do a lot of role-playing games, like a tabletop role-playing, and you do dice there, you know, like, depending if you get, on a 20-sided die, if you get a 20 on it, that's like the most epic thing that you can do. And it's called a natural 20 or a nat 20. And in that movie, there were so many nat 20 rolls for mutant powers. Because I was just like, dear Lord, Magneto pulling a train car out of the ground and then using that as a weapon. I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah, like there were so many of those moments.
Yeah,
like where like the part where Nightcrawler gets mad on the train and just like just takes everyone out, and then he like bamps and like I don't want to spoil anything, but like
that's the sequence that I usually point to as like that's the thing that I always wanted that we didn't get from Nightcrawler when he teleports really fast and beats people up. And I was like, yeah, because we barely had Nightcrawler before.
He was stabbing people with his tail.
Yeah, so I thought that was great. And they found a way, because what you're talking about with the train, like we saw Magneto use his powers in a way we hadn't before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, somehow they figured out a way to do that after 20 years. Like, oh, what about if he did this?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that it's like I could be excited for the movie, even though sometimes it's like, did it just take them 20 minutes to walk across the street?
Yeah.
I just think they missed an opportunity to tell a very cool space story.
Well, that's
also
just-
true.
yeah,
Also
they
very
just-
true.
Very true.
Very
And
valid.
where was
Very
Jubilee?
valid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But they did have Dazzler, right? Like
Yeah,
They did have Dazzler.
She did
Yeah.
show up at the kegger that they threw.
Yeah, they threw a mutant kegger.
You know the one where they had Storm making ice with her hands? That kegger. Storm making ice with
No,
her
we
hands.
didn't. I was gonna say we
Oh,
also
yeah, and
didn't
there
see
was-
Kitty
and
Pryde.
there was no
like,
Kitty Pryde
that
in it
was
either,
upsetting
yeah.
as
That
well.
was it.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, guys, thank you so much. We're not wrapping just yet.
Yeah.
But now I just want to get into like the real just like celebration part of this show. We talked about tons of news. We had some fun, but I want to know like we're going to cut this cake that we've got right here because we're celebrating 250 episodes, which is a crazy number of podcasts. I want to know what your guys' favorite Marvel movie news moment is from the history of the show.
Well, I don't know if
As I cut this cake and distribute it to people.
Yeah. I don't know if it's my absolute favorite of all time because there were, I was on the show for 2.5 years, kind of a thing. So I'm sure there's going to be some other moment that I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, of course that. But there was this time where, Matt, you had to go off and do something.
We'll just do it later.
Coy and I had, taken over while you were going to do something later, and then you came back and you were sitting there, and Coy and I were over there, and then like you were just doing your thing. You're like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm here. And then Coy and I look at each other. We both put on aviator sunglasses, and then you like look over and you destroyed yourself because we were like,
What up?
Yeah, and I forget the fan that did it, but they made that into a meme.
Did they really?
Yeah,
Oh,
and it
that's
was like
funny.
at the top was you, and you're like, I leave for 1 week, and I come back to this madness. And it had
I remember that.
Yeah, and it had like Deadpool glory, Wakandan glow, or something like that. With those with aviator glasses, and I love that.
That was really funny. I remember when you came in with your new haircut and I lost it.
The curly hair?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, you look amazing.
I remember said that to you.
Yeah, like I remember
you
like
haven't.
just not knowing how to handle you that day. Every time I turned, I was like, "Bleh, you're amazing, you're glowing, it's incredible.
Your guys'
We took a
relationship is so
picture
nice.
we took a picture at the end where you're just like,
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my God, look at this. I think one of my favorite memories, one of the first ones that came to my mind was whenever I had that weird, like, whenever I was producing the Kevin Smith podcast, and like I had heard some things, and God, what I don't even remember what the rumor was that I was talking about, but like I said something on the show, and then like all the like comicbook.com picked it up, and like it was like a giant, God, what was it that I said? I can't even remember what it was I said.
It was about I believe it was about Disney buying the or working with someone with
that's what
Fox
it was.
on
You're
the
right.
X-Men
That's what
thing.
it was. That's what it was. Because I had heard that like from various different places that I had been, and I was like, yeah, you know, like I heard this, and then the internet just went nuts. No, it was on. Oh my God, it was on Schnepp's. It was with John Schnepp. Rest in peace. It was on his show, and everyone was watching Collider Heroes, and the internet blew up, and so I had to come in the next week and be like, all right, listen, I did not say that this is definitely happening. It is I heard it, and for all I know, like, you know, like I had to go into explanation. Like I remember there were so many other articles, like IO9 had an article where they're like, who even is this Matt Key guy? Like, why are we all paying attention to him? And I remember tweeting that and being like, yes, why? Like, who am I that you believe this? Like, stop it.
Because you said it on a show. That's so funny.
Yeah. So, like, I had to come in and, like, that's when the whole, like, Matt Key confirms joke started for the next year and a half.
He confirms.
That's why I've been seeing it in chat this whole time, and I did not. So that's what that is.
Yeah. So, like,
that's great.
Like, I would come up with an idea, like, from there on out, when it was the two of us and Coy, anytime I was like, yeah, you know, I'd love to see this and this, you know, I heard that it might happen, and one of the two of them was like, you heard it here first, Matt Key confirms. No, I didn't. Stop it.
I just remember getting in the mic from
funny.
the booth and just saying it occasionally.
Yep.
You'd
Yeah.
just be listening to the show and something like Key confirms.
God, go, stop it, Doom, stop it.
For me, I brought in a visual aid because this is just a fun thing. Because there's a bunch of it's like I loved shooting when I came back to the show and we shot a thing at your desk while we were at work and
Geek and
of,
Sundry.
like, me in my Doom costume and then you interrupting my announcement video was fun. But I found this visual aid of this fan art that somebody drew and then was framed for me of Jobius.
Yeah, Jobius is great.
Drew Matt, me, Markeia, and Coy as Matt's like trying to lead, and we're all just
Doing my
thinking
best.
about our own things. I'm nerding out about Ghost Rider because it was during season 3 or season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Markeia's just thinking about Black Panther, and Coy's just thinking about Venom.
Yep. And all I want to do is just do the show, guys. Just do the show.
Yeah, wrangling cats.
Skibbity bop. Let's do it. Come on.
Coy's also making noise on his computer.
Yeah. Skibbity tap 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 tap.
Sounds right.
Oh yeah,
Zia,
he always forgot to turn the volume down. He always
He
did.
always did.
Always did.
The fool.
not even just that. He's just there like
Oh.
just tapping away. Zia.
Zia and I were talking beforehand,
Yeah.
and we, of course, are going to pick when we started doing the show, but it's not as self-serving as it
No,
sounds,
it's just-
because our first show was, unfortunately, after Stan Lee had passed away.
Oh.
So we did a little bit of a longer show, and we all, I think we played some clips, and we all just talked about Stan. So, it was a sad way to start, but it was a particularly memorable occasion. I
Yeah,
think,
we
for
talked
both of
about
us.
our favorite Stan Lee cameos. Yeah, it was definitely for my first time on the show. I was like, oh, this is like like a very like touching show to be on for the first show. So it wasn't like, you know, exciting and laughy, but it was just very like, I was like, oh my
what
God.
a
This
first
is
show.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And we had been slumming it in the minors for a while doing Marvel TV Weekly over on
Marvel TV Weekly
AfterBuzz.
for like
So
a year and a
to
half.
get called up to the show was exciting as
Yeah,
well.
it was. Yeah.
We did get some from the chat and
Yeah,
fans as well.
I've seen a few, but go ahead. What's yours?
At Cesspool Boy says Matt Key attempting to spell Markeia's Twitter handle.
Oh my God.
MarkeIAMCCARTY.
You got
Look
it
at
right.
that.
You
That's almost your entire inflection.
That's
Yep.
almost the inflection too.
Yep.
That's
And then-
really, really.
It's the only way he could remember.
Coy's was
Not the only spelling memory that was sent to us. Billy Pruitt says Coy having to spell out his name every show because of too many fake Twitter accounts.
well, yeah, that and also like he has every vowel in his name.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody in the chat, even now, I saw people spelling it KOI.
Yeah.
And I was like, not like the fish.
It's not the fish.
Like, what?
There's a couple good ones in the chat. For Us Initiative again. My favorite moment was when Markeia talked about how much she loved Black Panther before the movie came out. She spoke with so much passion. And Eric Opperman says, my favorite moment was when I tweeted Matt a picture of me from the time I hung out with Mark Ruffalo, and he put it on the screen. So that's a very self-serving memory, Eric Opperman, but
That's a
I
good
appreciate
one.
that.
But that's a good
That's
memory.
a
And
really
I
good
remember
one.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I remember there was a time where the people would dress as Doctor Strange and then send it to you. So like with
That's
cosplay.
cool.
That's Ashley Hutchins' favorite moment.
Oh, nice.
On Twitter, she said Matt Key dressing up as Doctor Strange.
I really almost did, but like I looked at the costume, I was like, that is no.
Which
that is
really
so
just
much.
feels like it was like Matt Key just didn't change that day to come into the studio.
I just didn't.
But you have the costume. You just chose
I do.
not to wear
I
it.
do. In fact, it is a specific costume that comes from The Doctor Is In, where he's descending the staircase and he just says, "The Doctor is in." I can't remember who drew that though.
You could have also come as pre-car accident Stephen Strange if you wanted to. You know?
Could have done
Just-
that.
You could just you could have been a jerk. We could have sat next to each other.
And I could have been in
insulted
like
people.
scrubs. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
Gamer Girl said it's a tie between when Coy knocked everything off the table
Oh.
and when she got to call in on Coy's last show.
Oh.
There's so many great ones. I appreciate the couple people like King's Portal that said Doom in the booth.
Yeah.
Which I just remember all my sound effects. That
I love the one that Ryan, your producer, is in the booth. He says, as a fan, the Christmas crossover with DC was awesome. Where we had, it was me and Coy, and it was also
nice. The
with
DC.
DC movie news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we
they've
had
been
an
around
amalgam universe.
They've
pretty much as long
That's
as
great.
this
They
show has.
started about a month to 6 weeks after ours did.
Yeah.
Yeah, approximately.
Yeah, that was a beautiful show. I love that
That's
show.
insane that
Yeah.
it's been going on for this
Yeah,
long.
it's crazy.
And I think that's going to do it for our time here.
Yeah.
We've been talking for a while. But as
Fair.
we wrap out, I want to know from you guys what, not just this show, but because we're reminiscing, what is your favorite Marvel movie moment from his Marvel history? Because we talk about these shows, these movies and these comics so often.
I have two.
Yeah.
One of them is probably like very easy to tell. One of them maybe not. So the first one I'll say is when in Infinity War, when Doctor Strange is fighting Thanos on Titan, and it's just like he's throwing the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, and he's just like, I remember watching that entire sequence where he's just like turning everything into like butterflies and creating portals and calling out every single spell as he did them. And my wife Brittany had a baby, please
Lovely
stop.
wife.
Yeah, please stop. And I was like, it's Crimson Bands of Sidorak. Oh my god! And she's like, baby, stop, please stop. That's the images of Icon. Oh my god! Stop, babies, please stop. The second one though was in the first Avengers movie, and that's when they got on the helicarrier for the first time, and Black Widow's like, you may want to come inside, and Hulk's like, oh great, we're going underwater in a submarine, and then like the propellers turn up, and I remember just like, this is an Avengers movie, huh? Like I remember just watching the helicarrier, and again, my wife is just like, you okay? I'm like, I'm so good right now. Yeah. So those are the two for me.
For me, it was I've never heard a movie theater be so loud for such a small thing because I went to the Civil War midnight premiere, and I went with at the time I was doing the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after show, and I went with my whole panel. It was Megan Salinas, Jesse Klein, Joyce Azuri, and we all went, and we're sitting there at midnight. And the moment the word Queens came on screen, we were at the El Capitan, so it was like the biggest Marvel group of people. I've never heard a theater go crazier.
It went
the
bananas.
word Queens.
Yeah, the word Queens.
Not even seeing Parker or Spider-Man, just the word Queens. It was amazing. It was incredible. Markeia?
Yeah, well, actually, it's all of Black Panther. No.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yes.
No, it was in Avengers Endgame where you just have that moment where it's like everything is crap. It's like, oh, we're all gonna die. Thanos has all the cards, and then the portal opens, and out comes everybody that needs to be there, including Black Panther, T'Challa, with Shuri right next to them, Ibombe. While everybody comes out and you're like, oh, Thanos, you thought you had this. I love that moment. There's something about that. I am getting chills right now just thinking about it.
It's so good.
Well, and that's... Keep going, sorry.
Yeah, because when you think about it, you've had a year of them being gone. Of the blip. I was calling it the dusting.
That's a good one.
Dusted. Yeah. Well, we didn't know the blip until Far From Home.
Yeah.
So, and that year, and then knowing in the back of your mind, like they have to do this because merchandising, because other movies. But then you finally get that moment, and you see it, and it worked, and this was the one time. Yeah. So that's my major one.
And I like that that's the only time we ever hear any of the Avengers say Avengers Assemble.
That's mine.
Oh, sorry. Then I won't talk about it. Take it.
We'll see it. Transition. Talk about yours.
No, I was actually waiting for someone else to bring that up. I thought someone was going to. I also yelled in the theater when that happened, and my husband just laughed at me. And I hit him in the arm too. I went like this.
Stop it!
No, I hit him like when it happened. I was so excited. I was just like whacked him. I don't know why. I got so mad I hit him. I mean, excited I hit him. But yeah, it was just because it was such a culmination, and like they tease at it, but they never give that to you, and you're waiting for it, and then they had to finally in this movie, and they fucking did. And it was so exciting. This is a culmination of like my entire, even just when starting watch Iron Man, like that's really what set up the event. You get all of it, and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like young child, teenage me was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then we finally got it, and so that was really exciting.
It's interesting because there's so much packed into just those couple minutes in Endgame. Because even before you're talking about when Cap hears Sam on his headset and he says on your left, I was like, oh my god, they're all okay, and you knew they were okay, but still, it's like, oh no, here's the proof, and then it goes to that. I think for me, if I'm gonna pick something, it's probably after walking out at the end of the first X-Men movie, X-Men 2000, and I was like, oh my god, we finally got one, because look, the first Superman was good, the first couple Batmans were really good, but it was like, oh man, we had the Matt Salinger 1990 Captain America. We had the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. Which
surprisingly still the best Fantastic Four movie.
I always say that on the show. It's still the best of the four. Maybe one day we'll get a better one. And I just the fact that we had it, and just what we have since then, of course, I don't think any of us would have imagined, like, I think that they're going to come up with an interconnected universe, and everybody's going to be excited for Iron Man. He's going to be he's going to be the big character that things revolve around. So just the fact that they were able to pull it off, and Marvel, which had always dominated, I thought, on the page, they finally were able to get something great. And look, that first X-Men movie, it's not perfect. They didn't spend enough money on it, but it was just like, oh, this was actually good. Thank God that they didn't ruin it for me, And
that's how you got Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And everybody, I remember people being really mad about that because he was too tall. I remember people being like, he's too tall, he can't play that role. And now, can you picture anyone else as Wolverine?
Pretty hard to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, Fox and the X-Men. I think you can just sum it up with that quote right there. Yeah. Thank God they didn't ruin it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Matt and Markeia, thank you for coming back. Thank you to Amy. Thank you, Coy and Colt, who sent in videos.
Colt
This was so much fun. We're going to sign off, and then so we can go eat that cake. We'll post a photo of it afterwards. It's part of why I was like, maybe I won't cut it now, because we didn't take any pictures.
I'm sorry, final comment from the chat, because it's amazing. Incan TV. Howard the Duck in 1986. That is Incan TV's favorite.
Nice.
Wow. So,
Nice.
I just had to give credit that someone will say that publicly.
Nice. Well, if you want to follow Amy, because she didn't get a chance to, she's not here, you can find her on Twitter at Amy Cassandra-MTZ. You can find me. I'm Zach Wilson at that Zach Wilson. Also, I'm going to plug it again because it's fun. I have a ridiculous other podcast called Ships in the Night, which I've managed to rope people like Matt Key into to talk about shipping between different characters from different fandoms that shouldn't be together. Like, what if Doctor Strange hooked up with Doctor House? We figured that out. Or what if the Lorax boned Thanos?
We figured that out.
It's a very, very intense story. It's called Ships in the Night. Zia and Christian have also been on there.
Yes,
Markeia, you're gonna have to figure this out.
I'm down.
I believe we also had a Thanos and Grimace from McDonald's was the episode.
I did that one with Christian. There's a lot of nonsense that happens on Ships in the Night. Matt Key, where can everyone find you?
At the Matt Key on Twitter. That's it.
Easy to do. Markeia.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markeia McCarty. That's Markeia McCarty. And if you also like horror or horror podcasts, I would assume you do because Marvel Zombies. I also do. I also do the Something Scary podcast with Snarled. Every Tuesday we have a new animated horror video that goes up on YouTube. That's youtube.com/snarled. And if you go to wherever you find your podcast and put in Something Scary, you will hear me doing more audio stories of user-submitted horror stories.
Ooh,
nice.
That sounds cool.
Awesome. Zia?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zia_land. It is XIA_land. That was not a word. And you can also check out the other show that I do. It's called It's Eric Nagel. If you're ever a fan of Opie and Anthony, he was their previous producer. So I do a podcast with him. Also, you can find that wherever podcasts are found. iHeartMedia as well. It's Eric Nagel.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. And you can find Zia and I most weekdays doing Marvel News Daily. If you're subscribed to the audio version of this show, I believe it shows up in your feed. And you can also find it on YouTube, and we tweet it out. And you can find my personal podcast, The Bladtcast, BLADTCAST.com.
Which I've also been on.
Many times,
a lot.
Yeah. More than I have.
All right, guys. This has been Marvel Movie News' 250th episode. Let's say it all together. That famous Stanley phrase, because I only do it sometimes, but Matt's here. So, one more time. Excelsior!
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.